Um, habari ya jioni ya leo. Najua ni usiku na tumeamua kukuja ili tujadili, kwa sababu mambo ambayo inaendelea ama venye mambo kuko, itabidi tuzungumuze, tujiulize maswali mambo haya. Mako Bura, habari gani? Sikusikii, sauti ni kama imepotea baba.
Oh, sorry. I think I'd muted. Nasema niko salama. Siku mwingine.
Ni vizuri.
Naweza zungumuza.
Okay, asante sana. Unajua kuna maswali mengi ambao watu wanauliza, kwa sababu unapata kwamba kila mahali inakuwa na uongozi wake, na venye mambo inaendelea na venye mambo yanazidi kukua ngumu, watu wanauliza sana, wanasema kauli ya rais, kwa sababu wanasema yote inaweza tendeka, kwa sababu rais ndio yule mtu ambaye anaongoza nchi. Kila kitu kifanyika lazima hao wenyewe watamuuliza yeye. What is your thought on that? Because people are saying that, okay, it is now the time that everything stopped with the president, even though maybe when you talk about the policing and oversight is not is an independent institution, and is like the person who leads the country, and that stops with him. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And even if you look at the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya,
yeah,
I think it only recognizes the power of presidency as the head of state, the commander of the armed forces, and therefore all the authorities, of course, comes from him. He's the one who sits at the higher hierarchy, and therefore matters of running the country, matters which are affecting the lives and the citizens of the Republic of Kenya are squarely under his docket, and he has the authority
to
give instructions on anything that directly touches the citizens of the people of Kenya. Just like the Constitution says that, the Constitution gives the citizen the mandate to elect their leaders, and having elected their leaders, the citizens then give them the power to act on their behalf. And remember, the president is given more responsibility in terms of matters of governance.
And
remember, governance is what really influences the activities which the citizens then get involved in.
But now, if you look at the president himself, because as we say that all stops with him, and he have quite a number of advisors, do they not see what is happening to the system, to the country, and maybe offer the president advice on how you can take good solution to control what is happening? Or is just a matter of, okay, less things happen, then they will cool by themselves?
I think at this particular time, things are not okay.
Yeah.
And of course, the president being the leader or the person who sits in the higher office has the prerogative of coming out to ensure that things work.
Yeah.
In this situation, when you're seeing things are going left, south, when they're supposed to be going north, it clearly tells you that we have a problem in terms of governance.
Yeah.
And of course, led by the president, there's a level of what we can call, how do I put it? They're simply ignoring their roles. And that tells you that there's some disconnect between the leadership and the citizens. When you see citizens coming out, and especially the youths, remember the youths are the lowest when it comes to the hierarchy of people who are supposed to be blaming the government.
Yeah.
When you see the young people coming to demonstrate, it clearly tells you that there is total disconnect between the leadership and the people, and that is displayed by the consistent demonstrations that we've always seen. And again, it also tells you that the people in leadership are not
Mm-hmm.
listening to the citizen. And of course, that tells you again that the buck stops with the president. It's upon the president to then make the final decisions in matters which are touching the citizens. It is through the president that instructions are coming. It is through his office that instructions which are you know which influences the daily activities, which then later on influences what is happening in the country, coming from. So what we can say is that he has slept in his job. He has forgotten. We can say he has forgotten his role, because remember when he was coming into this space, he was going for this particular seat. He said he told the people of Kenya his agenda, and he had a long list,
Mm-hmm.
which he gave to the people and convinced them, telling them how he was going to execute each and every project, each of every agenda that he had. But it is so unfortunate that at this particular time, the citizens have remembered the list of things that he gave them, and they are asking the president, and since he is the leader of this government, why are you not performing, or why are you not delivering? Why are we not getting the services as per what you had promised us? And so
Okay.
partly say the citizens are right,
Mm-hmm.
demanding for what is their right. They're demanding for the promises that they were given by people who are being paid by their taxes. It is the rights of the citizen to hold them accountable when they are not receiving the services as per what the constitution says, and also as per the promises which were given by these particular leaders.
Do you think it is a president problem, or there's a breakage of system somewhere? Because when you look at the government itself, it doesn't only consist with the executive. There are those who have been hired especially to assist the president. Now, look, for in terms of the security purposes, we know that president is one of those who sits in the core of the security, and he gets the briefing each and every day. But if you see that something that is happening, especially like what happened today in Nairobi, whereby the goons were patrolling the city and having that confrontation with the peaceful protesters. And president usually has like a intel that usually briefs him. Did the security apparatus foresee this one coming, that okay, we are going to have protest? Yes, but now a situation whereby the goons are now walking very freely, and the president is just saying this. Was he not briefed on what is happening, or the people who are sleeping on the job? That is one. And there's also quarters who believe that the president, somebody is sabotaging the president. And who is this that is sabotaging the president? Like, if you go to the social media, you will get those people writing, okay, this is a sabotage from the president, and the people are using some of these officers to do wrongs in which to sabotage the administration of President William Ruto. And if they know like that, why can't they call them out?
Okay. Oh, one thing that I want to say is that this is a generation of a learned, very literate people. It is a very literate generation.
Yeah.
These are people who are living in an era where technology has really gotten to a point where, or at their fingertips, they can get information of whatever they want to know.
Yeah.
So the problem, remember, this is the first time that we are seeing consistent demonstration from young people, particularly. If you saw during those times of Moi, the people who were going for demonstration were not really youths. They were, most of them were political class, those who somehow understood what leadership meant.
Yeah.
This particular time, it is a time when everybody knows what leadership is all about. Everybody knows the role of a leader. They know the role of a member of parliament, members of county assembly, governors,
Yeah.
and of course the constitution also lists and clarifies on their roles. So what is happening is that the mentality of the political class that we still have, they're not, I can say they're not, they're updated, yes, but they want, the level of greed in them is what is making them to ignore their roles. They know their roles because most of the time you see when they're given pressure, when they see people are going for demonstration,
Yeah.
they tend to come back to their minds. They start doing relevant or right things, but immediately the demonstration stops or immediately the pressure stops, they
Yeah.
get back and then continue with the bad things. So what is destroying the leadership of these countries? The high level of greed, high level of corruption, where the leaders we have, most of them or majority of them, they all want to become billionaires.
Yeah.
And out of that, they are going their way to get into corrupt dealings. They're going out of their way uh, uh, they're even taking monies which are meant for them for development, expansion of infrastructural developments, and all those things which are assisting the people, and they're diverting these monies or resources for their own personal use. That is why everybody today, especially those with crooked ways of living, they're all aspiring to be politicians, and not that they're leaders, but because some of them have looted with the political class, so they want to get nearer to power so that they can secure some what we call some safety, sort of. Some of them wants to get into the political class so that they can also loot, and that is why we are seeing majority, of course, of people who are accused of corrupt activities. They're the ones who come and splash money, and they bribe citizens so that they can be elected. We've seen such kind of instances, and that is not right. We need, of course, that is part of what the youth, so the people who are demonstrating, are trying to let them know that it is not right. And the people are aware, fully aware of what is happening, and they're trying to block the leaders. But the leaders on the other side, they're trying to refuse, saying that they are doing what is right. You've seen them trying to, form their own cocoons, whereby when one of them is hurt, they join and console with them. But when a Kenyan citizen or a normal citizen is not feeling okay or is having problems, they do not care. And so the citizens have also gotten to a point where they have known that among the problems that they are going through, part of those problems, they can only assist themselves. The political class will not come out to assist them. And that is why you're seeing a group of people coming from different regions, coming from different tribes. They came out and they were all demanding for justice, for a gentleman whom majority can say that 95% of those who are demonstrating had not actually met him or seen him. But due to the fact that the problems of the family of Juang, the problem of the citizens of Kenya, they find themselves in the same bracket. That is why they're coming out to assist one of them, because they feel that the political class or the leaders have simply forgotten about their role and they're on their own. There's also a question that you asked about why the political class are, did you say why they are hiring goons? You're muted.
Of
You're muted.
hiring goons. I was talking about that one too. But there's also quarters that believe that there are those who are sabotaging the administration of President William Ruto, and maybe they are using the insiders to sabotage the effort that president is making. Do you buy that?
I don't buy that
Yeah,
because when we talk, for example, about the NIS, the National
yeah,
Intelligence Service,
mhm,
they fully knew very well that, of course, demonstration was being planned.
yeah,
But what is happening is that there's nothing they can do. Remember when the whole citizens are coming out to
mhm,
protest,
yeah,
you cannot, for example, say that we are going to block the one in Nairobi. If you block the one in Nairobi, you will
mhm,
find another one going on in Mombasa. You will
mhm,
find another one going on in Kisumu and so many parts of the Republic. So what is happening is that as much as they have the intel, they
yeah,
know what is happening in the country. They do not
mhm,
have the power to control because the citizens are the majority.
mhm,
The police officer, the law enforcers, they are not as many as the citizens. So
okay,
the pressure that is coming outside is more. You cannot control, for example, what was happening in the CBD. You stop them from this side of the street, they will, form another, I mean, on the other side and start it from another street. And remember, it is also tough to fight a group of people who are fighting for genuine
reason.
things,
Mhm,
genuine things or genuine reasons.
mhm,
Because remember, as much as you are fighting them,
mhm,
as a country, we have so many treaties with, the international bodies, those which are, those which really looks into human rights.
yeah,
And again, remember, in the growth of every country, there are always measures that, uh, I mean, other countries also look at what is happening in that place.
yeah,
And, you know, the countries need, for a country to grow, it need partnership. And part of
mhm,
the partnership, those partnerships comes with rules. They come with treaties, very serious treaties that have to be followed, of which
mhm,
if you go against these treaties, they come
yeah,
with problems and challenges. Part of the treaties or the problem that we've gotten into as a country, I can tell you, for example, the other day, Kenya was mentioned, I mean, listed as one of countries which are supporting terrorism. Do you know why that happened? It
yeah.
is because the
The, the
allegation,
the issue of Sudan.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that comes with problems and sanctions for the
mm,
country. So most of time, countries would never want to go that direction because the moment you are sanctioned, or the moment you are given red alerts,
mhm,
then there's so much that you cannot do. Remember, we rely on other countries to survive. We cannot
mhm,
survive alone. And
okay,
so, like you said, there's no one sabotaging this government. It is the government that is sabotaging itself. It is the government that has proven to the people of Kenya that they do not have the quality. They
mm,
do not have what it takes to 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 run a country in a way that the citizens would come out and appreciate. Remember, this is the first time again where you're seeing, most of times when you do see demonstration, the previous demonstrations, we've seen them being done in specific regions
yeah,
and they've never lasted for long. And they're demonstrations that have always been called by the politicians.
yeah,
This time around, nobody Nobody, no
mm,
politician is talking about it.
mm,
It is about the citizens talking on their own. They know where they find each other, whether it's social media platforms, in whichever platforms that they find themselves.
mhm,
They talk as citizens and they plan for all these activities. So
okay,
it is not easy for a government to control such a movement because it is a movement that is coming from the people. It is a movement that, is coming because it is a movement that is uniting, you know, the poor majority of the people of Kenya, and they are
mhm,
uniting against a political class that they feel is not performing their duties. They're uniting against a political class that they feel is not respecting the Constitution. Part of what the Constitution talks about is respect of human rights, freedom of movement, freedom of speech, you know, and these are leaders who swore. They carried this by, I mean, the Bible, Quran. They
mhm,
carried the Constitution and said that whatever is in this Constitution, matters of life, matters of basic rights of a human being, we shall ensure that they are upheld, that they are respected. But at this particular time, they are not. And that is why the genuine reasons from the people who are coming out to clarify that they are not happy with the leaders they have. It's and the good thing is that what is happening again is that the entire country is fully aware of the
Yeah.
injustice that has been performed by this particular government. So there are many reasons that are making the people of Kenya to come out, to
And
demonstrate,
yeah.
and they're coming out to demonstrate based on serious reasons which are out there, which can be seen by everyone. So it is not easy for government to stop them in whichever means.
Okay, thank you so much. And we are joined here with our good friend Mzalendo, and Mzalendo also has a channel that usually do the same conversation that we are having, is Afrique 24. So if you find an opportunity, you can go to Afrique 24. I don't know whether Mzalendo you can share so it can run on the two channels. But like Mzalendo, we are having a conversation here because like everything that happens, we know that the president, the constitution has given it. Yes.
Just a minute. Just a minute. I don't know whether Mzalendo remembers me.
Mzalendo, do you know this guy?
I think he comes to my channel most of the time. So
He remember
You
he at one
voted
point,
him at Mtembei.
and
yeah.
that is where we met Brother Benson, if you can remember, from the
Oh,
many times that we were with him.
oh, okay. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you guys. Now, Ben, you can bring me to speed. But good evening, everybody else who is watching. Brother Ben Media. My name is Mzalendo kama kawaida, and nice to be in this channel.
Thank you so much. We were just looking at looking at the chronology, especially what has happened in the administration of President William Ruto, and especially what happened today with the demonstration. And we saw a young person that was shot at a close range. We are also seeing the goons that were walking freely within the CBD, and people are asking that this one stop with the president because he's the father of the nation. If something like this happens, everything, the buck stops with him. Do you agree with those thoughts or you disagree?
Yes, I think the leader of the nation is the commander in chief. This is somebody who was given a sword and a Bible to protect lives of Kenyan. So when you go home, in whatever way or circumstance, you are going to your house, or you are in the country called Kenya, whether you are a foreigner, whether you are a Kenyan citizen, the government ought to give you protection. And
Yeah.
that is why we voted for President William Ruto. But what you are witnessing in the streets of Nairobi is police having gone rogue, and the citizens are taking advantage of the incompetency of leadership in this government. It is high time that Mr. William Ruto puts his house in order. You have seen civilians. I don't even know civilians who have turned into thugs. Thugs are robbing people in broad daylight. We have seen images of policemen looting shops and walking out with laptops. What are we talking about here? We are talking about a country that has no rule of law. It's controlled by gangsters. In Nairobi, for instance, the demonstrations were going on, but there were two parallel demonstrations. Others were there to protect. I don't know what they were protecting. So, under which law were they operating? So, and you've seen even the governor for Nairobi, the pathetic governor for Nairobi, coming out saying that he will protect the traders. And instead of using the police to protect the traders, is using goons to protect properties. I don't know what properties they were protecting. Those goons were literally robbing people left, right, and center. So, what country are we in? We have never seen anything like this before, Brother Ben. This is the first time we are seeing a situation whereby we have. It's barely how many days since Albert Ojwang died,
Almost like almost
and the
10 to,
policeman is captured shooting somebody who is selling masks. Please, this is not the Kenya we want.
and maybe because that is not the Kenya you want, and that is what everybody is saying. So when you look at everything that is happening, does it mean that the political class does not understand the situations that we have, or they feel that the decision that they're taking are right, but the decision that what people are asking are wrong? So they cannot find that equilibrium where we can have a conversation and say, hey, this is what is challenging us as a country, and how can we mend these fences for us to move together? Because I'm not seeing that one happening. Does it mean that the political class are not understanding what is happening? And more.
The political class understands quite clearly what is happening, and they are part of this regime as we speak, and they are part of even they are the financiers of these goons that you are seeing operating in the CBD. So they understand, but I think they are underestimating the power of the people. That is what they are underestimating. Uh, many governments have been brought down through revolutions and all that. We had reached a junction where this country was calm following the handshake between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. But they never solved the problem. There's a deeper seated problem in Kenya that needs to be solved, and that is injustice. When you go back to the National Accord, for instance, the National Accord addressed this issue that is affecting Kenya today. That is so many years when Kenyan butchered each other in 2007. Now, they addressed it and they say that, according to the Kriegler report, they had 8 pointers that they needed to address. But you see, leadership is so sweet that when we get there, we forget what is supposed to be done. There is so many commissions that have been set in this country, be it in education, be it the land commission, be it the electoral commission, but are they addressing the issue? The issue that is affecting this country is greed, and that is why we are um, up against these young Gen Zs who are trying to address the issues. They're addressing the same issues that Kriegler report had addressed so many years, that several consecutive governments, including the one for Uhuru Kenyatta, Mwai Kibaki, did not address. Now, William Ruto is a victim of that circumstance and is coming late in the day when we have got information technology that can circulate information very, very fast. So William Ruto is a victim of technology. Technology can be used against the state as we speak. Yeah, because many youths have got access to the social media platforms, and if they want to protest, if they want to address their issues, they gather there within a few minutes. They're already there, and it is a mammoth rally in X media. So when
Yeah.
that rally happens in X, they are able to articulate their issues. They're able to point out what is happening in this government. So until the state starts embracing technology, and embracing the issues that the young people are addressing, it will never be business as usual in Kenya.
Okay, before I engage Makubura, let me just engage you on an issue here that you've mentioned about that they thought, or like the president and the right honorable prime minister, maybe they had that view that if we have together come together and have a handshake, we can stabilize, or we stabilize it for a moment. But now we are still seeing that one is going on. But now that one, now I bring you to the history, especially of handshake. It has always happened, and if you're very, 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 very good in your memory, especially when you look at this handshake, the same issues that they've been being agreed upon are almost the same, and they're not usually being solved, and it keeps on repeating itself again and again. Does it mean that now we are now using the same tactics for the longest time, that now it has overstayed, or it has gotten misuse? Like somebody who has been taking a lot of, maybe you're taking a particular medicine, and now your body is immune to it, now it cannot work. So the system of maybe the handshake and talking about what we are going to do, it's not working, because now we are seeing, despite the handshake between him and the right honorable prime minister, we're just still seeing the uprising of young people still asking so many questions.
One thing I want to say about this handshake is that one, did the handshake solve any problem? Yes, it solved an immediate conflict and probably calmed the people at that particular time. But did it solve the key issues of the problem why people were on the streets? No, it didn't. It only allowed the smooth running of government without addressing the key issue. So that is what the handshake solved. Now, should Raila Odinga walk out of the handshake, what will happen? The government of William Ruto collapses immediately. So that is the danger of what we are facing right now. So the government of William Ruto is in a place where it cannot disown the handshake, yeah, and they have to keep in check the ODM leader and make sure that they are all intact. So ODM simply replaced the Kikuyu community who have walked out of government. Now, is it a long-term solution? No, it is a solution that only lasts up to the election cycle. Now, the injustice and the ethnic divisions in the country still continue and are still persistent, despite the handshake. Do Kenyans look eye to eye like brothers and sisters? No, they are now. This war has become again. It's being transformed to the people against the state. All right, and if you watched the former detainees coming out and saying, in conclusion, that they have never seen this kind of brutality ever in all the regimes that have been there. They have never seen a regime that is killing young people. They have only seen a regime that killed politicians like Tom Mboya, Gama bin Pinto, yeah, and Robert Ouko. But never in the Kenyan society have we seen the demonstrators being shot and killed. Never in the presidencies that have been there have we seen young people being dragged from the village and being killed. So this is we've never even had people missing. People were being taken to Nyayo torture chambers, and they would be detained for years. If maybe that is the only solution, then let this government detain people without trial instead of killing them. If Balbert Ojuang was detained without trial, he would be still alive. The parents would not be mourning, and nobody would be probably in the streets, and it would not have been as bitter as it is today. You know, when you kill somebody's only son, no matter how much money you give them, they are never coming back again.
Okay, Nick, Zalendo, just hold on. I will engage you because you've spoken of something that also is something that I want also to engage my brother, because you are alluding that the right now the government of President William Ruto is surviving on the handshake, the power that maybe a pillar of ODM, Makobura, and right now you are seeing there's that clear division in ODM, like people like Senator of Nairobi are saying, disowning the agreement that they have. If that's the case, um, should that one worry the president? Because anytime, any day, that split can be seen, or like people can part ways in ODM. And how is that one going to leave his government?
Okay. Okay, thank you. First, you've talked about you've talked about uh, you've talked about you've talked about the handshakes. I wanted to just comment on that. I think the difference of what we are seeing on this matter of handshake this time around, it's different, and the people of Kenya are coming out to criticize this union between the government and uh, and ODM, and the reason is very clear. The people of Kenya, most of time, they've always entertained these leaders. And if you can remember the first handshake, no, the Uhuru Raila handshake,
Yep.
when we're coming together, the people of Kenya were promised quite a number of things. But, when they were now in this government of handshake, there's much that the people of Kenya really received in terms of service. And again, remember the then Deputy President William Samoei Ruto, he said clearly that these issues of handshake are the ones which are not making us, to perform very well, to deliver for the people of Kenya, because according to him, the handshake, whenever you have the handshake, it gets you out of your agenda, and then you tend to be doing the agenda of someone who has just joined you. So what the people of Kenya learned, and especially the youths, is that as much as we've been promised that, let us embrace handshake, but the moment the handshakes come, what we've always seen is a government that is, um, a government that is giving jobs to the close allies of one, the former prime minister, and also close most of those people again who are given job are those people who contested for elections, and in one way or another they never managed to clinch power.
Yeah.
And so it is a recycle. This is what is being done every now and then. And so the people have gotten to a point where they're saying, well, you are telling us about the handshake. It is not benefiting us. The problems always been facing. You come with handshake, the problems even become worse. And again, the reason why it becomes worse is that ODM, normally when they are on the opposite side, they've always reminded the government of those things that they're supposed to do. They've always stood with, on matters fighting justice. I mean, fighting for the justice of,
Yep.
the people of Kenya. But the moment they join the government, that then stops. So you find that the people of Kenya gets to a point where life now becomes too tough. And they then failed to understand. You told us that the handshake was supposed or was going to ease in life, but it is not the case. And so the youths have been resistant on that. And they're saying, we no longer care whether the handshakes are coming or not because it makes our lives more difficult. That is why you're seeing consistent demonstration.
Okay.
Something else that you had asked something else.
Oh no, I was asking about the handshake and how if it breaks, because like there's that division within the ODM. There are those who are supporting President William Ruto, and there are those who are opposing. Yeah, those who are not buying the broad-based issue, but they are in ODM. They have dissenting view, especially just to mention like Honorable
Yeah.
Senator Sifuna. And is
Yeah,
that one
let
a
me.
white president?
What I can say first about ODM, my take. This is just my take.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing a possibility of ODM splitting
Mm-hmm.
because there's a group of, let me say, led by the experts. They feel that they are already in government, they have the power. They need to continue being in power, they need to continue getting salaries, they need to continue enjoying power.
Yeah.
And you want to tell them to come out, we go look for a government that they're not sure about whether they're going to get or not. So them they're contented and they want to maintain being cabinet secretaries, being experts. They are supporting that government.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they are close allies. With their close allies, there's a group of leaders who are also saying it is right. Let us maintain. Again, there's also a group, of course, the likes of Sifuna, let me say James Orengo and the team, them they're saying it is not right
Yeah.
because first, it is not what we stand for as ODM. I'm not speaking on my behalf. I'm just trying to give my take.
Mm-hmm.
So what is happening is that the likes of Sifuna, they're saying we are still young in this government. We are still young in this political party. We need to fight for our future. The
Yeah.
likes of Sifuna, they want to become leaders. They want to become governors. They want to become presidents in the near future. And they're saying
Mm-hmm.
that when they start colluding or joining this government, that might then taint their
Mm-hmm.
political future and might stop them from going for these higher seats. That is
Yeah.
why they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
as we are not joining this, we are not supporting the MOU. We are not, we are not supporting every bad thing, so whether good or bad, which is happening in this particular government. And so that is
Mm-hmm.
why we are seeing consistent resistance from the likes of um, Senator Sifuna. And that, of course, clearly tells you that they are going to maintain being on the other side. The
Yeah.
experts will then maintain being on the other side. So we are going to have two factions within ODM because of the difference in political views and also political stance. That, of course, is going to affect the government because the current government is being supported by ODM. If ODM was not in that MOU, I can tell you, Brother Ben, that there's a possibility that even the youth, and of course, together with the opposition, if suppose ODM was in opposition, they would have really done something bad for this government. And that is why you're seeing the president is very protective of Raila Amolo Odinga. He's protective of anything that is done within the political base of ODM because he does not want to lose that base. He knows very well that he's surviving. Even him still having peace in this government is because of the presence of ODM.
But now let's say for an instance, if to say that the ODM agrees and agree with the president and say that okay, now this is what we are going to do. Let's work on this. And even if the assignment that they made, the 10-point agenda, but you still find that one of them was being the extrajudicial killing. But that is what we are saying. Have they honored it? To honor, you know?
Uh, I, I can say that part of the MOU or what they told the people of Kenya is that they had 10 agenda points that they wanted to work on. but I can say most of the agendas, I think part of it was issues of matters of youth. And what they talked about then was that matters that, when the ODM joined this government, there were consistent killings, there were consistent abductions. And part of what they told us, and Sifuna specifically told us that they said that matters of judicial, abductions and killings are going to stop. But the truth of the matter is that it has not stopped. And that clearly tells you that the agenda that part of the agenda that was signed, it has not been executed, it has not been respected by the government, and partly they've not followed it. I think that is part of the reason why the Sifuna side within the ODM are saying that we cannot continue being in this government because it is going to destroy our future political aspirations. It might then stop them from continuing. Somebody like Sifuna, for example, he has been viewed as a national leader. There is quite a number of people coming from different regions who really likes how he articulates his points and even his political stand. Him continuing, for example, to stand with the government that he feels, according to what he has always said, that is not respecting the human rights and the fundamental freedoms of human rights. I think that clearly tells you that he has always mentioned, not once, the other day he said that the MOU is finished, we are out of it, because it is not respecting all those, those agendas that signed, the MOU that signed.
Okay, thank you so much, Mzalembo. Can I engage you? You're still dealing in Makobura, Mzalendo. I don't know whether to ask you a question or you're still working on something. Unmute. Okay, 1 minute. Mzalendo is still working. Makobura, and also as Mzalendo is still working, and we are still just going back to, because we still believe that what people say, that all this stops with the president. When you look at President William Ruto, especially during the campaigns, and the promises he gave to people, and he was on there are pillars that he really touched, especially one, and this one we've spoken about, especially we are talking about the churches. President William Ruto made it sure that the churches were convinced, like, this administration is going to be administration of church. It's a godsend. But now when you look at what is happening, especially, and you compare it to what Christianhood calls us to do and what to do, how do you now look at it in terms of the William Ruto that was campaigning on the platform of Christhood, the salvation and all that, and the William Ruto of today with his administration? And this is Brother Benson again, before Makobura, before you answer. Anybody who is new in this channel, you can subscribe so that when we're having a conversations like this, especially, you can be part of it by commenting and sharing, so that you can also be part of the conversation. So when you look at that pillar, especially the church, the Christian, the salvation and all that, do you feel like you still hold it?
Allow me to equate it to, I don't know whether you've heard, I don't know whether I'm quite sure you understand the word, what it means, what this word con, what con people do. If you've ever lived in Kenya, most of the time we do interact with them. They do make calls and they tell you that, for example, they are calling from certain institution and that, matters of money. And sometimes you'll find yourself falling for their tricks. Most of the times they will come up with,
oh, yeah. Check on your internet, brother. I think there's something with Makobura internet, and as we still wait for Mzalendo to come, as Makobura checks his internet, we are just having this conversation and everything that is happening in the country. And there are people who believe that this one should stop, the buck stop with the president, and the president should come out gun blazing and say, okay, let me put my house in order, because what is happening at the police force, especially, is something that, to me, I feel that is rotten to the core. If you look at the death of Halbert and what happened to the gentleman today, and I was just going through the internet. I don't know whether it is true or confirmed that he lost his life or is still fighting for his life. So I know we will confirm as time goes, And Mzalendo, are you done? Unmute. Kindly unmute, Mr. Mzalendo. Thank you so much, Gibson Connor. We came to the show. I hope you are not sleeping. We decided to be awake right now.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mzalendo. I hope now I can engage you. As I told you earlier, we are saying that the buck stops with the president himself. Is the father of the nation and everything that is happening. And you remember very well when President William Ruto was coming into power, religion and the church was part of his core base, and these are the people who supported him fully. And if what is happening right now, and the President William, like the President William Ruto who campaigned during the church, and the President William Ruto now we are seeing his administration, how can you compare the two?
How come I'm losing your voice?
Did you lose my voice?
Oh, yeah, you're back now. Yeah. You asked a question whether if you can compare the two leaders.
Yes.
One, I can say that President William Ruto and is called and Uhuru Kenyatta are two distinct, have got different personalities. One campaigned on a totally different platform of reforms. Now, Ruto was supposed to bring reforms to Kenya, and that is why many people, especially the young people, voted for William Ruto. If you can remember, with the Asla narrative, it really worked well with him then. But today is facing hostility. Why? And I think many people are asking themselves that question: is why is that William Ruto facing a lot of hostilities in his government?
Yeah.
One, I think he didn't have very competent leaders in his team initially when he came in, and they just veered off. I keep on saying that William Ruto went off the rails when he couldn't listen to the voices of the people. You see, these are the people who put you in government. When the ASLA fund, especially, that was a big thing. When it collapsed immediately, now you see what they are doing is that they have started going on a spending spree with something called empowerment. That is a replica of the youth empowerment fund that failed. So, in terms of bringing Kenyans together, he has tried his bit to bring Kenyans together, but he brought them at a very wrong time when there are problems in the country. When there was stability in his government, everything was fine and there was no need of having the handshake. But
Yeah.
as I told you, these are underneath problems that have always been there in successive regimes that have never been addressed. Now, there's a lot of civic education going on in the social platform, including BBN, Afric 24, so many other channels that are talking about governance and are talking about politics. So some of them give education. There is a lot of information in the X spaces. When the spaces are opened, you see so many young people coming up and discussing the issues that affect them. These things were not seen during Uhuru Kenyatta's time. Neither were they there during Moi's time.
Yeah.
Moi's time was agitation and a sabasaba kind of politics. Now, politics has transformed with the digital age. Our
Mm.
leaders have not changed with the digital age. They are still struggling to be in that particular age that they were in,
Yeah.
trying to compare notes of yesterday and notes of today. Today, children are using the computer. You used paragraphs and the textbooks to read your notes. Now, notes nowadays are sent to you on your email on on your email so that you can read them. So
Yeah.
we must accept change. All right, you must
Yeah.
accept change, and if you don't accept change, that change will change you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Let me read for you a quote here. That is was said by the president today, and I want you to connect it to what is happening right now, whether the president was right or he was wrong. And I quote: "I cannot be distracted. I am a man on a mission to transform this country. No amount of noise or propaganda will stop me. I am willing to pay the price, whatever it takes." That is a quote from President today on the 17th of June 2025. No, I cannot be distracted. Let me repeat that. I quote: "I cannot be distracted. I am a man on a mission to transform this country. No amount of noise or propaganda will stop me, and I'm willing to pay the price, whatever it takes." And you look at what is happening in the country with the death of Albert, the death of Gen Z, and what has happened today, and everything that is going on in the country. And when you equate it to what the quote of the president, what he's saying, what is your view on that?
Is that my question?
Yeah, I just want to know what, based on what is happening right now, the current situation in the country, or the state of the nation, and the president say that I cannot be distracted. I am a man on a mission to transform this country. No amount of noise or propaganda will stop me. I am willing to pay the price, whatever it takes.
Yeah, for a leader, you must show authority. What is
Mm,
doing is showing some authority that he has as the president. He has to show leadership. So
yeah,
that is expected during a crisis, that
yeah.
you must stand up and show that you are the leader of
Mhm,
this country. So anything else that is coming, you are going to deal with it. But the bottom line, this is somebody who is acting so much,
mm,
is
mhm,
acting so much that he is just waiting for an opportunity.
mm.
Maybe when he gets out of power, to vent and tell you, hey, mazee, Wakenya mulinipeleka mbio sana.
Uh,
Yeah. So I, for me, I expect him to do. I expect leaders to talk like that, talk boldly, uh, to give surety to his supporters that things are just fine.
okay.
Musidhani hizi ni kelele tu. Okay.
Okay. Ni kama pale wanasema tukiwa shule, walikuwa wanasema kilio cha chura ikizulii, wasema kwamba ng'ombe kukunywa maji. Makobura, there's also this angle that people are thinking, or some people are saying that it is maybe the people are not understanding the president as much as people say that president is not understanding the people, or the people also are not understanding the president because it is this time, like, everything that president does, everything that president does, nobody appreciates. Even him, he admitted, remember the other day when he was outside the country, he admitted that from his country, nobody can praise him. So is it the people who do not understand the president, or the president is not understanding the people? Where is the disconnect?
I can say that the president is not understanding the people.
Why do you
And
believe
the
so?
reason why he's not understanding is because first, he told the people of Kenya what he wanted to do in his 5-year term. I mean, yeah, in his first term, that is 5 years. And in his agenda, more of the things that the president told the people, I think he did raise the expectations. And the people then said that, well, this is going to be a good president, and we need to give him a chance so that we can, get the developments and the services that he's promised. But when the president got into power, I think he focused on one thing that we are seeing as a people, the affordable housing. And then even the pattern or the manner in which the affordable housing was then picked and the manner in which it is being done, it is not, it is being done like something that, it is something that is being forced on the throat of the people. I can tell you, me, I stay in Nairobi. If you tell me that there are houses here, and you tell me again that there is a rental house, you want to rent or you want to buy a house, I
Yeah.
will first look at, my ability. And currently, I can say I do not have the ability to own the house. And even though they're saying that those houses are cheap, if you see the bigger view, if you do a good analysis, if you're someone who has really gotten the opportunity to do analysis on matters of, finance and everything, you will realize that it is not the truth. It is not cheap. And then something else that the people are now not happy about is the issue of, payslip being raided.
Yeah.
We are in a point where money and getting job is not easy, and you find that the few people who are employed, they have
Yeah.
so many dependents. So it is so unfair for government to come and want to raid your pay slip. And remember, there are so many people that you are assisting in one way or another that really depend on you. You had your own plans with what you get. Someone comes, wants to start taking your money, and then they tell you or force you that there are houses there. You can go and take the houses. So that is one thing that has really made the president unpopular among working class or people who are earning salaries. And then something else is that, as time goes by, we've always seen the salaries being raised each and every day, especially for the members of parliament. I mean, let me say the political class. But I can tell you it is not the same case with the normal one nation. You find that the other day there was a high raise of salaries among the political class, but you come to the normal citizens, even with the many taxes that are coming on the payslip, you find that if they were taking home 20,000, currently they are
Yeah.
taking 17,000. Instead of increasing their salary, it is being reduced. But on the other side, the political class, theirs is being raised. And then you ask yourself, matters of inflation and all those things are also coming. When you are earning 20,000 in 5 years ago, and you maintain that five, I mean, today you are still earning 20,000. What 20,000 can do for you today is not what it was doing for you 5 years ago. So they're not looking into these matters, and it is a
Okay.
challenge to the citizens. And this is part of the reason why the people are coming out and saying that we are not being understood by our leaders. And they have given reasons. We saw leaders coming out to, for example, the political class, the CS, some of them coming out with watches, a watch that is costing almost 1.5 million. And then you there working every day, you struggle in life, and there's nothing so special about these people. That is the anger that is there among the young people of Kenya.
Okay. Thank you, Makobura, and I will have to engage you in that. I hope, Mzalendo, there's something also you mentioned in your submission that I need to follow up with you, and maybe to know what you think about it, because this empowerment that especially that is championed with the allies of the president. Like every week, we see amount of money that are being dished out, and when you look on the other side of the government, there are challenges that the government is having, and you look at the when you go you look at the pay slip, or like you look at the people who are giving out this money, how much are they earning? Because you find like in a week somebody can give almost around 2 million, not more than 2 million, and other sector of the government is not working, and they're not even putting in place proper laws that can create good environment for doing business, yet they're doing empowerment. Are the people of Kenya, or the voters, are aware of what they are being brought into, or they're just happy about the money that is being given to them?
You see, Ben, then it is sad that we are in a society where money dictates everything. Today, you leaders are elected in terms of their monetary value. Today, you see appointments are made in the cabinet in terms of monetary value. If you see, if you look at the worth of the cabinet of William Ruto is nearly 3/4 of the GDP of this country, approximately. So this country it's about what you can give to get into leadership. Now we have equated even development and the money given to us as a privilege and not a right. So citizens don't actually know when a leader is using their own money or is using the CDF money to dish out. These arambes were banned and they are illegal according to our constitution. You have to know that arambes are illegal according to the constitution of Kenya. But the government keeps on breaking the same laws that these leaders enacted in parliament. Yeah, they drafted those bills in parliament, and the president was part of that team. And the reason why Arambes were being banned is because they act as conduits of bad leadership. So the more you give, the more you keep on giving goodies to the people, the more they will not be able to elect a good leader at the end of the day. They will be asking for somebody who can give them more than you've been giving. So that's why it is very, very difficult to remove an MP who is politically correct and who is using the CDF funds, even if they have not spoken a word in parliament, apart from the swearing in. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And you've talked about electing leaders, especially based on the price tag. So that is, in other words, that I could say that the leaders will be elected on the price tag, and what determines the election is the amount of money you have. Then you come and start to ask yourself, then who should we blame? Especially now that every problems that we are having in our constituency, every problem that we are having in our wards, every problems that we are having even with the executive, it's a choice that we made by ourselves to vote in the ballot box, because what you vote in the ballot box is what you get. So how can we learn as a people or as voters and see that we are not going to elect somebody based on the price tag, but on the policies or on the somebody who understands what we are going through or what should be done for us? How can we, as the voters, now let's forget about the leaders, now let's talk about the voters themselves. How can we reach that point whereby we say the decision that we are making, it is based not based on the price tag, but based on the real issues, somebody that whom we trust, that will assist us to overcome the challenges that we are going through, or bring in good legislation that create good environment for us to live? How can we, the voters? Mzalendo?
Uh, um, I feel what the voters should do is first of all understand the constitution, and then understand what the leaders ought to be doing
Yeah.
when it comes to leadership. There is a clear guide on what your MCA, what your a member of parliament, and what your governor should do, and what oversight role all these people need to play. For example, in parliament, they need to oversight the executive, yeah, meaning they need to oversight the presidency. Now, the current parliament, are they able to oversight the presidency? The answer is no, they cannot,
Mm-hmm.
because they are all in this rubbish called broad-based government. So,
Mm-hmm.
at the county level, can you oversight a governor that you are in the same political party and is probably your party chairman or party leader? The answer is no, because he's the one who's she or he is the one who's going to give you the ticket next time.
Mm-hmm.
So where does this leave the common man? I
Mm-hmm.
still believe that there is room to amend the constitution of Kenya to ensure that we have a representation in the smallest unit, that is the county assemblies. So
Mm-hmm.
if we start with a representation at the county assembly, it should represent diversities. How we are going to do that? We need constitutional lawyers to come and redraft this constitution, because they never foresaw something that in a county where it is politically dominated by one political party, then the minority in that party in that region are not represented. So this is the challenge with the current constitution that we have. Even if you look at nationally, how many tribes are there in Kenya? There are 42. There are some other tribes in this country who have never had a representative even in the cabinet, if especially
Mm-hmm.
uh, people like the Ogiek community. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give you a tribe that people talk about most of the time. These people who live in the forest, the Ogiek. Does it mean that they have not gone to school? They have gone to school, but they are politically incorrect, meaning that they don't have significant numbers to put them in that particular table where people are dishing out these portions of the national cake.
Mm-hmm.
Why we hear of the Luo community and the Kikuyu community and other tribes like the Kisi and Luya? Because these are the dominant tribes in the political scene in Kenya. So there are only six dominant tribes in the political scene in Kenya. And where are the rest of Kenyans? Where are the rest of Kenya? These are the questions that we need to ask. Is this constitution working for all of us, or is working for a few selected individuals? So once we address this pertinent issue, then
Mm-hmm.
I believe any successive government, including the government of President William Ruto, which has got 2 more years, can do something about it, can do something. Look at the National Cohesion and Cohesion Commission. This is a commission that ought to bring people together. But are they doing their job? They are not doing their job. They're not doing their job. So
Mm-hmm.
there are some institutions that have let down the president of the Republic of Kenya. One of them is that one. The National Police Service is another one. The shooting of today of that particular Oka, there is a serious case going on in court of involving the police, then this policeman, an idiot, comes and pulls a trigger
But,
and shoots some hawker.
but, but
Really?
Mr. Lendo, and that's the question whereby people are asking that all this, because at the end of the day, the history will judge the administration of President William Ruto, because you are the president when all this were happening, and which means he has the supervisory role. The Constitution give him the power to have the supervisory role, especially in the police. Why can't you crack the whip? Because remember, when Hillary Mutyambai, I think he resigned, Job Kinoti resigned, and
But,
now
but look here, this guy has just cracked the whip and relegated his deputy, somebody he appointed, somebody from his tribe. He's just done that. Then there is this guy who has not even seen that. He goes about and shoots some innocent ochre somewhere.
but like there are
It doesn't
people
make
who are
sense to
saying,
me.
the people who feel that he should do more.
Well, I don't know what the president of the Republic of Kenya has to do more than what he has done lately after the murder of Albert Ojwang. I don't think that he ought to do more, because there is due process also.
Yeah,
There is also something called due process, Ben. There is nothing like you can just wake up and create your own and start firing everybody else.
but
When you start firing everybody else, they will also have their time in court, and you might lose.
yes, and talking about that, and people also say that the Constitution of Kenya does not clearly indicate, like the DIG, somebody in the DIG of position of a DIG can step aside. It doesn't, because it's a state officer. So when such like matter of magnitude, uh, uh, it requires you to resign voluntarily. You know, you know, that's what some other people also argue like that. But anyway, that is something that for another day. And Makubura, there's something also that we need to discuss, especially as we look at what is happening in the police, the mental health and the mental status of our police officers. Uh, do you think this one might have contributed to what we saw today?
Okay, just like I'd said in the previous session that we had, I have had the opportunity to work in a financial institution, specifically a bank, and I can tell you most of times we had the opportunity to visit the stations, police stations, and of course on matters of loan. As much as they were willing, they really wanted the loan. I can tell you that the amount of money that the police officers get and the responsibility that they have, it cannot sustain them.
Mm-hmm.
I could see some of them, they are coming, telling that I want it, kindly help me process it, I need it. But you cannot do it because, of course, there is the third rule that you have
Yeah.
to follow. And that clearly tells you that the amount of money that the police officers get is not
Mm-hmm.
enough for them. It is
For
too
them.
small, I can say so, for the
Mm-hmm.
work that they are doing.
Yeah.
And I think that is what really explains the reason why we are having a high corruption, in the police force, because the money that they get is cannot really sustain them, and so they tend to do other things which is actually contrary to the law,
Mm-hmm.
just to allow them to afford their basic daily needs. And their mental problem is an issue. I think that is one thing
Mm-hmm.
that we need to really look into as a people, because the mental state of an individual can really dictate their next move.
Mm-hmm.
And in many cases, we've always seen that police officers have been some of them have been killing their spouses, their children. You've seen those news so many times. And that tells you that, it is difficult for them to to manage. It is so difficult for them. Okay, sawa. Sijui Kiswahili yangu ni chache lakini yeah, so it is not easy. That is one thing that we need to look at. As much as we've seen the police, quite a number of police officers have gone out of the have not respected what the law says. We also need to give them time and to partly understand that being that the role they are playing, it is not an easy role. It requires someone with a very stable mental mind.
Yeah.
And I think part of that should be addressed by the government and also by the people who are tasked with ensuring that they have, what it takes before they
Yeah.
get into this, interaction with the public. Because remember, the normal citizens, as we do not really know. There are so many people who do not really know unless you interact with them deeply.
Yeah.
That is when you'll get to understand. Majority of them are going through a lot of stress, a lot of mental torture, a lot of mental instability that I think should also be addressed. If it is not addressed, we will still see them coming out to even shoot when we don't expect. So I think
Okay.
it's something that we need to do. We look at.
Mzalendo, what do you think about the mental status of our police, especially our men and women in uniform? And could this one be one of those triggers?
Um, First of all, the police live in very terrible conditions, inhumane conditions. If our legislators were allowed just to, to stay in one of those police camps for a night, they would understand why these people need some more understanding. And again, uh, police officers need to go for refresher training each and every time because that way they can be able to equip themselves with modern technology and modern ways of dealing with things like riots. You see, so apart from their salaries that have been mentioned by Ben, these people have got families and who depend on them. So you find them going out of the way to collect bribes and things like that. I have said many times that there is a solution to everything. Uh, there is the imbalance in society that needs to be addressed. Uh, a police officer is driving a member of parliament who is earning about 1 million shillings, and the officer is earning about 25K or 20,000. And he drives this member of parliament home. And sometimes they are the ones who perform the transactions in banks and all that. They collect all this money when the MP is dishing out money that they have collected from whatever account it is. It goes through their PAs, who are normally some officers from the forces. So they witness all these things when they are going to Intercontinental to have some nice breakfast, or the Serena Hotel. I don't know whether Intercon is still there. I understand that it's no longer there. They go to Serena Hotel to have some good breakfast. Uh, these officers has to walk up to a kibanda somewhere around Serena, kunywa uji yake moto na kachapati, then come back when the when the MP is ready. And at that time, probably the MP is going to meet their girlfriends in and spend and come back telling stories that he has spent almost 50,000 or 80,000 that particular night. This particular officer, his salary has not come in. If you go to his pay slip, is being deducted money for housing.
Mhm.
Is also being deducted share. That cuts across many civil servants today. Their pay slips are being deducted a lot of money on services that they will not use. For
Mm.
example, you have a private insurance that you are paying for through your company, but the government is telling you it's mandatory that you also pay for shares.
Sure.
So these are some things that they need to look at ways of addressing them, because once you lose the mandate from the working class, then you
Mhm.
lose the mandate from uh, the unemployed majority in Kenya. Then I think it's time for you to reflect what you need to do.
Yeah, yeah, Mzalendo, I agree with you, and I think when it comes to the issue of especially the insurance that is being offered by the state, or people can get their private insurance. I think it is high time that we came to our senses and look at it in a broader perspective, because I mean, in the developed world, especially when it comes to buying insurance, there's that the insurance that is universal. You can get it from the government and you buy it at a cheaper cost. And also, you can have an opportunity to purchase your own insurance. But when you look at especially what you've talked about, there's what we call double transaction. So let's say, like for instance, you are paying 200 shillings on your payslip for your private insurance. Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
Then again, your government also is taking away another 200 shillings for the share. I mean, for example, that is like 400. You know, but now, so which means you're paying it double, and that is also something also that come with the house levy. As always, I've insisted and said that house levy, I mean, like the affordable housing is a very noble idea, but the way it is implemented, it doesn't make sense. Because one, the question that I usually raise with the house levy is one: if you're deducting me for a house levy, which is building a house, and the same time I will have to buy that house again. Let's say that you've deducted that money until and I'm buying the house. So which means a house that I was supposed to buy at 1.5, in that sector alone, I will have to pay something like almost like 3 million, because you're paying it double. You will buy it, the same time you're still being deducted. So that is double payment. It doesn't balance when you're doing your books. It doesn't balance. So which means at the end of the day, you end up paying more than what is required of you. You know, if you are deducted, especially, it acts like a mortgage. So which means you should get the ownership of that plot of that house immediately you are done with buying or contributing the open market value of that property. They should start deducting you on when you're looking at it in broader perspective. That's how I'm understanding it. I might be wrong in how I'm understanding it. Makubura, what do you think?
Um,
I think just like I'd said,
Yeah.
there are some, for example, on the issue of insurance, I think we're in a country where people have different options. People earn different amount of monies. People have different preferences. And I think all these things, the government gets the taxes out of it. I don't think it is good to force, people to be doing something that they really don't want to do. And that is why even there are so many Kenyans who have gone to court, for example, on this matter of housing. It is so unfair, for example, to be deducting money from people who already struggled and bought their own houses. There are people who also had taken their houses and they're paying for that loan. And now you want to then start taking some amount from their payslip. It is not something that can be justified. I think people
Mm-hmm.
need to be given several options so that they have options on what they think is good for them. But this
Yeah.
matter of government coming and forcing things on them, it is not really right. And again, even the issue of housing, for example, the issue of housing that the president, I mean, this government has really measured on. I think yeah. So, for example, the issue of housing,
yeah.
it is not bad. It is a good thing that we are seeing counties. There are new houses being built in different counties. Yes, but why must you take money from the people? There are so many ways that the government can get that money. Why can they
Yeah.
then? Why are they using the money of the people? Build it. They're
Mm.
building it on a public lands, and then they are selling it again to people.
Mm.
They're saying it is affordable. The fact of the matter is that it is not affordable. It is being sold at the market rate. So
Yeah.
even that term affordable, I think it should be removed because it is lying to the people. When a government comes up with projects, their projects should always be, um, the cheapest in the market. They should be projects which are, pocket friendly, and even acquiring, the way you acquire them should be that tough, like what we are seeing.
Oh, thank you. I'm just keep ameniambia who wants to buy a studio apartment as a family. I rather live in my free shack. Father anasema nini, hata matope iko sawa. Yeah, there are so many questions that surrounds. It's just like maybe our leaders have refused to, or they've decided to go with the narrative. But especially when it comes to owning property, especially there are so many questions that need to be asked, given the ownership of that particular apartment, and what kind of title are you going to get? Because like if you look at the Kenya has like 4 different type of title, and especially if you look at the ones that they're building on apartment, you need to get like is it what it's called what conventional apartment title. It's like a title that each and every block you should have your title, and you share the parking lot. That is when you are buying it, especially like that. But will you get that ownership? And if you buy that house, can you use the title that you've gotten as a collateral, whereby you can go and secure a loan with it? So those are the questions that you are asking. But if you intend to sell it, will you be allowed to sell it? And how will you sell it? So those are the questions. And you talked about the issue, the land whereby they are built at. Yeah, because that is always a government, like, is a public land. So how there's so many questions that surrounds the house, but now people are deducting that money out of it, and that's why I was telling you that everything that happens, we will always stop with the president. Maybe before we wind up, Mzalendo, I just want to know your thought. The other day, the president was in Kakamega, and he said that he will not hand over the power or to leaders who do not know what they are doing. And if you look at our constitution, especially, it said that the power belongs to people, and Article or 140 talks about on how the power is being handed over. What is your take on the remarks made by the president that day? Unmute, brother. I can't hear you, brother.
I am on these several apps that I'm using.
Yeah, sorry about
that. Power actually belongs to the people,
that.
and it does not belong to the president. So it's a wishful thinking that you will not hand over power. We have not reached a state where, or we have not witnessed a place where a president has been defeated in our country, and he has refused to hand over power. I don't know. I cannot preempt the chaos because I'm already seeing chaos in the streets because of one death of Albert Ojwang. I wouldn't want to preempt what can happen. Maybe there'll be a state of emergency. Maybe, I don't know, people will be detained, jailed. So many chaos will happen on that particular day. But we have not reached that point as a country. Democratically, we have evolved from that kind of rhetoric that
Yes.
when you are defeated, you cannot leave office. I think the constitution has surpassed that
Yeah.
unless you are living in a different country. That's why I'm saying these leaders are reading from the old page. This is a new Kenya. This is not the Kenya of yesterday. This is not the Kenya that you'll have your way. Look
Mm-hmm.
at the stories of Albert. They are pushed until the IG deputy is out. Look at the story of the finance bill 2024. What happened to it? There is many examples of where the government have been pushed to works. Yeah. So the people can rise against you, and there is nothing that you'll do about it. Yeah.
Okay, and if just to remind you, this was on September 9th, 2022, and this is what former President, or would I say that President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, I will hand over power, I quote, on Tuesday while smiling because that is my constitutional duty and I had promised a smooth transition. After that, I will become a normal citizen and my leader will be Raila Odinga. Today, you may think you have denied him, Raila Odinga, an opportunity to lead this country, but you have just denied yourself an opportunity to have a person that would have united and healed this nation. That's what the former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta said few that was on 9th September, and this is what President William Ruto said on 13th June 2025. I quote, "We cannot hand over to people with no plan. All they keep saying is Ruto must go. How will that one help them? They have no plan to do anything." That is what President William Ruto said. And if you compare the two leaders, they are both communicating here about the power because both of them, Uhuru was speaking that when he was the president. I think he was going out. I mean, not I think, I know that was the end of his term, and the president, William Ruto, is still in power, and he believes that. Now, as we look at the constitution, and they say that power belongs to people, and the people who are voting. And the people, when they vote, people do not vote based on what you have decided to do for them or based on your manifesto. That is what make them to vote for you. But immediately you are voted for or you are voted out, you know, you cannot refuse to hand over power, or you know, because the people are the people who are giving you the votes, and that their
You,
votes have to count.
you see, Ben.
Yeah.
I want to give you an example of
Yeah.
when Raila Odinga swore himself as the people's president.
Yes.
Now, he had no constitutional power.
Yeah.
According to Article 2 of the Constitution of Kenya,
Mm.
you you can't exercise authority without the Constitution.
Mm.
You understand? Now, the Constitution is very clear about how we ought to hand over power once IBC declares you the winner of
Yeah.
the elections.
Mm-hmm.
That is explained in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are also other legal mechanisms that you ought to follow within a stipulated time
Yeah.
to appeal to the Supreme Court if
Mm-hmm.
there is any dispute of the election. You can just wake up and say, "Hey, you know what? I have been defeated, but I am not going to leave." Now,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you are going against the articles in the Constitution. You are going against Article 141 of the Constitution of Kenya. You are going against the people.
Mm-hmm.
You are going against what you swore the time you were given that power to
Mm-hmm.
lead. So after elections, we have got a period where the president will be sworn in. But before he's swearing in, there is that period where you can appeal if there is any other issue that
Yeah.
you are appealing against. But
Mm-hmm.
we have seen instances where Kibaki was sworn in the middle of the night. Did they follow the constitution? No, they didn't follow the constitution, and they didn't follow the law. What is required of the ceremony? What happened? So if you can copy and paste what happened in 2007, you can paste
Mm-hmm.
it to 2027. That is exactly what will happen. If
Yeah.
President Ruto refuses to hand over power in 2007, then we will have a Musumkate government. That is the only way that will cure the remedy. That is the only way that will cure the remedy. But if he loses with a popular vote, then you can be rest assured that he will leave office. He can decide to leave office gracefully, and he can decide to leave office disgraced, just like President Moi. So
Mm-hmm.
let him not follow the footsteps of one Daniel Arap Moi and leave the office disgraced. Let him leave the office honorable, so that the next occupant of that particular office may
Mm-hmm.
be a Kenyan of good morals, and a
Mm-hmm.
Kenyan who is able to unite the republic called Kenya.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mzalendo. And how I wish that even the leadership would understand that, and to know that the power belongs to the people, and to know that all this leadership, these are ni vitu ambazo ni seasons. Itakuja na itaenda, na kuna mwingine pia ataingia na itaenda. Makobura, wewe unasema vipi?
Yeah, I also wanted to add on what a good friend has said, that
Yeah.
I think if it was hard for presidents or leaders to hand over power, I don't think it can be easy for them in these particular days or times, because of course we understand that they do have a lot of power, but
Mm-hmm.
remember the constitution also says that the power belongs to the people, and the people of course are the citizens. In I think, let's say for example, in a scenario where we go for an election, and then let's say that for example the president is defeated and someone else has to come in. I think
Mm-hmm.
that would have mean that the majority of the people of Kenya have spoken, and they want someone else. I don't think the president would have the prerogative of blocking someone who has been elected. And should that happen, it can trigger a lot of so many things, including things which are not there in the constitution. So I think it is not a good thought that
Mm-hmm.
a leader of the caliber of the president should be, talking about such kind of things. But what we've always seen, especially in this government of President William Samoei Ruto, we've seen
Mm-hmm.
him make some comments, and we've also seen his close allies make some comments. For example, so on matters of politics and how they do their politics. There are so many things that we've seen. They start by the junior members of parliament or close allies, the likes of Honorable Sudi. They make some statements, and then later on, you realize that it was,
Mm-hmm. Uh,
and
uh,
then
uh,
later on, you find that
mm,
they concluded. So
yeah.
in this particular, I think we need to talk about it as a people of Kenya and what
Mm,
it can take, because we've had leaders talk about it, we've had Sudi talk about it, we've had Cherargei talk about it. We've seen close allies of the president comment on this particular matter,
mm,
and in politics, if you see some leaders coming out to speak about something, then it is something that they've spoken about, they've talked about, they want to test the waters, and there's a possibility of them coming to execute. It should worry us. Somehow speak about it, yes, but again, we have a
Mm-hmm.
constitution. Let us be people who abide and follow the constitution as it is, because going against the constitution would mean something else. That, of course, you go against the will of the people, they will also go against your will, or they will also try to fight to ensure that their wills are granted to them. Yeah, that is my take
Oh,
on that.
okay. Thank you so much. And does it worry you, especially if you mention, especially those who are allied to president, are making comments that are that election in nature, and now you come and hear
Yeah,
the president also. Does it give you any worry?
it, it worries the people of Kenya, not just the president. When some
Mm,
bad people speak about it, it is something that is worrying. And
mm-hmm,
what the people are saying out here is that why could we've had a constitution that we do follow. We've had people come and go. We've had very strong leaders in those particular offices,
yeah,
and whether members of parliament, governors, we've had the president. For example, what happened in the last election? The former
mm,
president had his candidate, Raila
mm,
Amolo Odinga, and the other day I think I did give you a chronology of what really transpired on matters of rigging and all those things.
yeah. Makobura,
That party.
mm, oh,
Can you hear me?
you're stuck on there. Can you check on your internet and come back, Mzalendo? As,
Yes.
as Makobura is checking on his internet now, let's at least switch gear for a moment and look at oppositions and what is happening. Do you see opposition are having solution to what Kenya is going through right now?
Uh, can you please tell me who is the opposition?
Like where we are right now, we have what we call the loyal opposition. We have the Right Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. We have Eugene Wamalwa is in the opposition. We have Matiang'i too. They are in the opposition, holding in brief as opposition. And do you feel they have what it takes to answer
Uh,
these questions, the challenges that are facing Kenya?
you see, um, I would say that the other group, the
Yeah.
other group
Mm-hmm.
are only putting the government in check where the minority in government have failed because they have joined the government. If we had a strong minority in parliament that can check government, then the
Mm-hmm.
other group will be a bit relevant.
Yeah.
Now, these are the challenges when we have a parliament that is controlled by one person who is the president and his friend Raila Odinga. So that is back to one's party state where uh, uh, we have the leader controlling every other person who is supposed to doing the oversight.
Yeah.
Now, the opposition are made relevant. Whatever little things they're saying, even if they don't make sense, that is what the people want to hear. Because right now, there is nobody who is oversighting the government. That role has been left to Gashagwa. Yeah, Gashagwa and his team. Will they make a good alternative government? Yes and no. Yes,
Mm.
being that they have learned the mistakes from the previous regimes, they might not want to repeat the same. And no, because they have also been part of this corrupt system for a very long time. and they never raised any tangible queries on how the system was being run. All of them have been in most of them have been in Moi's regime. They have been in Uhuru's regime. They have been in this other one, this Ruto's regime. So did they raise any issues then? No. The issues, for once, Gachagua is raising now is because he's annoyed. He's not happy with what happened to him, which I think was also very unfair. Do you think he can make a good president? The answer is hell no, he cannot make a good president. He's more of a competent administrator and cannot be a unifying factor to this particular country. Now, this country needs one person who will obey the law. So, if you look in that group, is there anybody who can obey the law? Yes, there is one person who can obey the law there, and he has been tested before. Somebody like Maraga, he can obey the law. He can obey the law. Will he ensure that institutions are independent? Yes, he will ensure that institutions are independent. Will people be elected on merit? Yes, he will follow the law to elect people on merit and not people from his community. The way we have seen Rigiji and uh, William Ruto doing. So this kind, if you wanted to know what this government is all about, look at their first 100 days in office, then you'll know who they were. You'll know who Gargadi Gachagua was, you'll know who William Ruto was. After 100 days in office, maybe their bad manners, William Ruto's bad manners of tribalism changed a bit because of the pressure. We are now seeing a few laws into government and things like that. But is that good enough? No, these are reactional tendencies. You are reacting to a situation to come another particular situation. Well, there is a storm brewing in the Republic of Kenya. So that storm, once it comes out, it will sweep every other person out. And that is a sad reality. We might be comfortable now and enjoying what we call development, but we also have to think about why. There is also the whys. Why William Ruto, despite him launching so many projects in so many counties and trying to solve the problems that Kenyan people are having. One, I think there is a lot. He has been let down by so many other people in his team. His communication team has always been pathetic. They have not articulated everything that is doing properly. That is why everything else is directed to him. I give example of Alfred Mutua. Alfred Mutua, when he was in government, despite Kibaki being incapacitated and not functioning, yeah, at one point he had a stroke. Then he had a team that was leading the country, a competent civil servants who knew how to run government. So they ran the government on behalf of Mwai Kibaki and could not realize the problem that the government was facing then. So this particular president does not have that team that can, should he be absent. Can you imagine, for example, let me give you an example. Tuseme Ruto is incapacitated, God forbid, incapacitated in some way or the other. Ni mgonjwa, he cannot perform his duty for a few months. Who is this among the people that you see in his government who can step up to the occasion and lead? Is number two, who is supposed to step up, is called Professor Kindiki. Do you think that Kindiki can hold this country together?
You know, it's very difficult to say yes, and it's very difficult to say no, bearing in mind this. If you're very keen, there are very people who are very vocal around president. Just to mention, when you look at the likes of Farouk Kibet, you look at the likes of Oscar Sudi, and just say if something happens to the president, do you think they can allow any other person to get there? That's why I say no. Then secondly, when I'm looking constitutionally, then I would say, okay, maybe Kindiki can do it, but does it have the will? Does it have the free space to do it?
Okay, let me ask you. You mentioned a few people. You mentioned the people who came into your mind that can put the country together. You mentioned Farouk Kibet, yeah.
Because
Then
they're very
you
vocal.
then you mentioned another one. You mentioned is called Oscar
Oscar
Sudi.
Sudi. Yeah.
Now those in your head, that is what is running as your alternative leaders to the presidency. They
No,
might be, yeah.
do you know the reason why I mentioned them?
Those are the people who will be calling the shots.
Yes.
Those are the people who will be calling the shots on behalf of the president, because they will speak for the president's voice. So those are the people that Mr. Kindiki will be getting advice from. All right.
Mm.
So don't sugarcoat it to be anything else. It is exactly what you have said. Now, can you compare that to Francis Mudhaura?
No,
Is
Francis will.
any of them coming close to Francis Mudhaura?
No.
Any?
No.
Hata ule and then look at the entire cabinet of William Ruto. Do you see, like, Francis Mudhaura was very close to President Mwai Kibaki. He was not vocal in terms of political decisions, but he was working behind the scenes to ensure that things work right for the president. Now, these guys are not even working behind the scenes. They are in front of the cameras every day. And what they carry each and every day is some envelope full of 20 million Kenyan shillings, doing what we call empowerment and parading MPs who are not loyal or who are loyal to the regime. Those are tactics that you can only use to some village idiots out there. But people who are informed cannot buy that.
I think on weekend, I don't know what that Farouk Kibet was calling out a member of parliament who she did not turn out for empowerment meeting.
Yeah. You see,
Did you see that?
so you can imagine he has got that kind of power. Then you can imagine that if you don't show up and you are a cabinet minister, if you don't show up to an
No, this is an elected member of parliament. Just imagine, this is an elected member of parliament.
And is lecturing the elected member of parliament in our own constituency. But this is a member who probably does not agree with him or the decisions that they are making politically. So you see, these are people who are intolerant. They are people who cannot stand other people's views. And that is the reason why you find so many body bags, people dead, people missing, because once you dispute, why is Ojuang missing today? Yeah, a tweet, and then unauliza tumalizane na yeye ama tumalize, tumfanye aje?
Tumdiscipline kidogo.
Ati chapa yeye kidogo, wacha tuue hii mtu. Then you kill a human being, like you have brought some insecticide, doom or eat somewhere, you are spraying, unaua tu vitu vinataka, unajua. Now to cap it all, hata ijaisha kapolisi kengine pia ndio huyo kwa barabara, ndio huyo tu, yani unprovoked, and hata hakuna kitu bemfanya.
Maisha ngumu bana.
Huyu jamaa hata huyo jamaa, that guy was standing in submission. I'm seeing from the social platform that is dead.
Yeah, that's, and we just want people to Kibet wants a seat in the, okay. Yeah, that can be true, Mr. Kip. We saw that on the social media, but now we are waiting from the national where he was, if they can they can confirm to us. Makobura, I know you are tired and you want to go and relax. Zalendo, how many minutes do you have?
No, I think we have done quite some time. You've done 2 hours of this particular show. You want to continue?
No, I need to release you because, like, I don't want to keep you because I know both of you have something that you have to do after
yeah.
this. But I would want to take this opportunity to thank both of you for being here and for us to have such a conversation. And I would also want to take this opportunity to thank Kipril, ingawaje hukukuwa nataka link una comment, but thank you for joining us and having a conversation and commenting on the social platform. I hope we will meet on the other platform. Laban Misiani, thank you so much. Gibson Corner, Father DD, thank you so much. I hope our mother is recovering well. He's doing fine. Just let us know. And that is everybody who was on the comment section. We thank you so much. And everybody who is watching, if you're new in Brother Benson Media, kindly please be part of the conversation, but by just hitting that subscription button. Is for free, so that if we have conversation like this, you would share with us, and you would also get a notification that we are going live, so that we can grow together and have this conversation. The conversation we are having is a conversation about our country, and it's a conversation that we are questioning the leadership, not only the leadership of administration, but the leadership of judiciary, the leadership of the legislature, the leadership of the police, the leadership of the every institution that we have, even our own, because, like, we are also leaders. And if we demand good leadership, are we also, as voters, are we showing that good leadership? Sometimes we might demand something that we ourselves we are not showing. So it backstops with us as voters too, that what kind of leadership that we want, and how do we want that leadership to be run. And all the questions, all the complaints that we are having, all those are being solved at the ballot box. So make sure wherever you are, have that ID, have that voting card, and make sure that when the day for voting will be called, be the first person to vote, so that those questions are answered on that ballot box and you don't have to complain anymore. But if you don't show up to vote, then you have no reason to complain. That's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong in that. If you are eligible to vote and you fail to vote, then after that, after election has been done, then you come and complain about your MCA. You come and complain about your member of parliament. You come and complain about your governor, women rep, and everybody, including the president. Then you don't have the reason to vote. Everybody, you have to vote, then you can complain. But you cannot complain if you don't vote. Mzalendo, what do you think?
Yeah, that was a good remark, Mr. Ben. And just as I said, that we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility. And viewers out there, we also have a channel called Afrique 24. Tungesependa sana ukitazame pale tunasimama pia na ukweli, kwa ajili ya ukweli na kwa ajili ya haki ya Wakenya wengi wale wamepoteza maisha yao. Na kila wakati tukizungumza hivi, hata hapa BBM tunasimama na ukweli. Na usiku wa leo mmeona kwa yale tumekuwa tukiyasema, kuwa polisi wanafaa wabadilike, na bwana rais unafaa ushughulikie hii idara ya polisi. Hawa sijui kuwa ni mafunzo hawana ya kutosha, ama ni elimu hawana ya kutosha, but kuna mambo ya dharura inafaa kufanywa katika idara ya polisi, na tusiendelee hivi kwa sababu watu wengi sana wataaga dunia tukiwacha yapite, because it is barely 24 hours since you donated the 2 million to Albert's family, and here you go again. It is barely those 24 hours, barely people are still discussing Eliud Langat, whether he resigned or he steps aside, or he should have been sacked, or what. People are still discussing that, or he should be prosecuted. Then there is this policeman again who is shooting. Then there are images of policemen looting looting shops. The images of policemen looting shops. We have gone so low as a country. As a country. Then we have got these gangs masquerading in the streets of Nairobi, and there is nothing being done to them. Yani watu wanatembea na rungu na polisi wanaangalia.
Hii ni siku ya pili. Unajua ile siku ya kwanza pia walikuwepo, na leo pia ndio wamekuja tena.
Leo walikuja na vishindo, walikuja leo walikuja na vishindo, walikuja na marungu, wakakuja na nini. Hizi vitu zote tunaonaga kwa failed states kama Haiti na nini. Yani we have allowed gangs to operate the streets of Nairobi in the name of democracy. What is this? And we have allowed talking points like people like Gaucho to be the people who are setting a talking point for the opposition. Yeah. Ati sisi kama wafuasi sisi kama wafuasi hatutakuwa Raila Odinga, hatutakubali hiyo. And we have allowed this man to talk on behalf of the biggest political party in East and Central Africa. Mimi kama life member wa ODM nina kistumu chama changu cha ODM. Hawezi endelea hivi.
Kumbe we ni mwanachama, hatukukuwa tunajua kwamba we mwanachama.
Mimi nilikuwa mimi ni kama William Ruto, sisi ni life members, hakuna mahali unaweza tupeleka. Chama tutakikosoa.
Si basi mkae na kikao, muite kikao, mzungumzeane, mseme mambo ambao vipi, mambo tutaendelea vipi. Kama
wale wazuri kama mimi hawana sauti kwenye kila chama. Watu wale wana sauti ni hiyo group ya kina Gaucho, kina mwingine anaitwa Matakwei, mwingine huko Korogocho anaitwa hao ndio sasa wanaendesha, wanatoa kauli ati sisi kama wanachama Raila Odinga tutafanya hivi. I mean, this is what we have become. Unanielewa? Sisi tunakuwa hivyo. Ukiona Nuru Okanga almost 1 hour anatoa kauli ya chama. Ndugu bana, pale tunaelekea kisiasa ni pale pabaya. Ni mteremko, ni kama punda anateremka na mzigo pale chini na unaifuata mbio. So lazima tuangalie, tujirekebisha. Nilisema hapo awali na nikimalizia ni wakati wa Moi tulikuwa na Nyayo Chambers pale, watu walipigwa, wakateswa vibaya sana. Na uzuri wengi wao hawakukufa, walirudi wakasema kile walipochopitia. Hii ni nchi tumeona kwa kila mtandao, governor sitaki kumtaja jina, wanamfanyia vitendo vya kinyama kijana, vitendo vya kinyama vikiuni, and bado yuko na sisi bado yuko na sisi tena, ni kiongozi. Hii ni nchi ambayo mtu amehukumiwa akapelekwa gerezani, akatoka akakuwa mbunge. Mimi nakwambia leo ni tarehe ngapi? Leo ni tarehe 17
tarehe 18
tarehe 17 mwezi wa 9 mahali mimi niko.
Asante.
Mahali wewe uko. Mimi niko mahali niko. Wacha niseme tarehe yangu. Mahali wewe uko pande hiyo. Mimi mahali niko ni tarehe 17 mwezi wa 6 mwaka wa 2025. Bwana Eliud Lagat atawachiliwa uhuru na atakuwa governor mahali anatoka.
Sawa.
Ni hayo tu ndio naweza waacha nayo.
Hiyo kwa Kiswahili tunaita utabiri wa siasa. Kuna wale ambao wanatabiri, wanaangalia miaka
na mimi pia ukiangalia kwa undani nimetabiri siasa. Hata mimi mwenyewe nimetabiri kuanguka kwangu kama mgombeaji na nikawacha.
Ulianguka.
Ninaweza tabiri wewe hii matokeo itakuwa namna hii. Wakati nilikuwa nawaambia Bwana Raila ataanguka, mlikuwa nasema nini? Hata huyu jamaa yuko hapa alikuwa anasema nini? Bwana Obura alikuwa anasema tofauti sana. Alikuwa anapingana na mimi hata ni vile ngumi tu ndiye angeweza fikisha. Lakini hii ndio ile group ilikuwa inapingana na mimi vikali sana. Haiwezekani.
Unajua lazima
kuna watu wamepewa kipawa ya kutabiri.
Wewe ni mmoja wao.
Mimi ni mmoja wao. Mimi nimepewa kipawa ya kutabiri.
Hebu nitabirie, kwa sababu mimi nataka kujua miaka 10 zijazo mimi ndakuwa wapi, kwa sababu alafu nikuwe nikiishi nikijua mimi ndakuwa wapi, kwa sababu uko na hiyo uwezo. Ni wachache sana wako nayo.
Wewe miaka 10 ile inapokuja utakuwa mwanahabari, utakuwa mwandishi, utakuwa mtu wa kuandika, utakuwa kama Ngugi wa Thiong'o, wale wa kuandika vitabu na kutabirisha. Lakini kwa mambo ya siasa wewe si mwanasiasa sana. Siasa inataka ile roho ya kuwa ile roho bado una bado uko na kauoga kidogo kwa roho yako, bado una kauoga kidogo. Huwezi jua, lakini mimi naweza iona. Lakini unatamani sana kuwa mwanasiasa, lakini kale kauoga bado kako, unanielewa? So hiyo uoga kutoka kidogo utakuwa mwanasiasa. Lakini ila wewe ni mwanafunzi, wewe ni mwalimu wa siasa, utafunza watu wengi na vizazi vijayo mambo ya siasa na mambo vile inafaa vile mambo inafaa kutendeka kwa society ambayo inafuata ratiba na kanuni za sheria za katiba yetu ya Kenya. Unaelewa?
Nakuelewa kaka. Mimi sasa sina wasiwasi.
Mimi wewe Ben unataka kuishi maisha mzuri, maisha ile
na mimi nitakuwa president. Ama mimi
wewe Bwana Ken Obura lazima ukuwe na msimamo kali. Mahali unatoka kama ni Kisumu, wapi ni watu wana msimamo kali ya kisiasa. Ukipata MCA wako ama mbunge wako mpige kofi, utapata kiti.
Na mbunge wangu wa Dombo ndio nimnyang'anye hiyo kiti.
Pale lazima ukuwe na kifua, lazima uende pale microphone useme wewe ni Simba, wewe ni wale Simba, unaweza uma mtu wowote. Wewe unatoka kwa vizazi vya Ong'ondowere. Bas hapo utapata kiti, lakini bila hayo wewe utasubiri sana ndugu yangu.
Okay, Mzalendo, asante sana. Wewe tumekuachia nafasi, unaweza toka studio saa yoyote ambao unataka kwa hiari yako. Mimi nimefurahi leo kwa sababu umenitabiria maisha yangu. Sasa unajua kitu ambacho inakuwa ni vigumu sana kutabiri yanayojiri. Na hata ukiangalia katika Biblia, haujui siku ile Yesu atakuja, kwa sababu Biblia inatuambia atakuja kama mwezi. Na haujui utakupata uko wapi. Sasa mimi leo hii tabiri lako mimi naifurahia. Nikienda kulala nakuwa najua mimi yangu.
Asili TV anauliza Mzalendo, tabiri kama Ruto atafikisha 2037. Maisha ya binadamu, maisha ya binadamu, mambo kama kifo, hiyo sina kipawa kama hicho ya kutabiri maisha ya mtu, lakini mambo kama siasa, hii siasa vile inaelekea, nina uwezo wa kukuambia. Wacha niwaambie watazamaji wako, kwa sababu pengine huu ndio muda niko nayo peke yake nao kwa siku ya leo. Natarajia nitakuja huku siku zingine, but ile kitu ile nazawaambia ni ya kuwa kuna hii msisimko wa Gen Z. Unaona, hii msisimko wa Gen Z ni msisimko kubwa sana, na population ya Kenya sahii au ni wengi kuliko watu wengine, hizo jinsia zingine. Hivi nasema ni kuwa hii population ya Gen Z ndiyo tadetermine mambo mengi sana. Wakiwa organized, na bwana Ken Obura I think yuko katika hiyo bracket ya Gen Z. Wakiwa organized, ninakuambia hizi areas zote za cosmopolitan areas za Kenya and towns za Kenya watazifagia zote, Nairobi ikiwa number 1, watazifagia. Zizi constituency kama tuseme, kama sitaki kupatia wanasiasa dukuduku ama moyo ustuke bure, sitaki kuwapatia kwa sasa, lakini nawaambia ole wao wale wako katika zizi constituency zile ziko cosmopolitan. Ukiwa Nairobi na kuambia hizo zinaenda hizo viti. Ukiwa kule Kisumu, wakiwa organized vizuri, wanachukua hizo viti. Ukule Mombasa, wakiwa organized vizuri, wanachukua hizo viti. Na sikiza, wanaweza zichukua katika chama cha ODM, wanaweza zichukua katika chama chochote kile, wataingia kama Gen Z na wabak mtu wao, watachukua hizi. Na pia wakiingia na chama chao ama chama chile kona kipenda, bado wanaweza chukua hizi vitu. You know, then it is very, very sad that it is in our country that we don't have very many young people in positions of leadership or heading parastatals that are run by government. All right. So it is high time that they sit on that table. We need to see many young people in the Senate challenging Sifuna. We need to see many of Eddies in the Senate.
Migori Senator.
Yeah, we need to see the likes of that guy with Mama Ndevu ule wa Kiambu sijui wapi. Huyo Medo.
We have Medo, Dhangwa.
We need to see many of them. A lot of good leaders have been contaminated by bad politics. People like Ndindi Njoro. This guy was, if you listen to him in terms of economy and all that, but kuna hii kasumba ya tribalism that we need to fight. We need to fight it completely. Today, the best performing governor comes from Kikuyu in Murang'a County. Yeah, the best performing constituency is Aluo, Babu Owino. So we have got all these dynamics, yeah, and these people are young. These are not from the older generation of politicians. These are young people who are making a difference in politics. So the more people get into politics and they get involved, is the better for the country called Kenya. So we need to get more people involved in politics. William Ruto was a good president when he came in because he was involving young people. We saw people like Osoro. That is why I supported him, because I was seeing that this is somebody who is going to involve more young people into his government. And he has there is an aspect of him that likes young people being in. You've seen people like Raymond Omolo, people like that in his government. This is a good gesture, but there are some people who are also out to tarnish his government, and he needs to act. And if he doesn't act, mi nakuambia 2027 itakuwa ni historia inaandikwa Kenya, ya kuwa kama ya Maraga aliandika historia, the first country to nullify a presidential election. Nani alikuwa najua inaweza fanyika? We all kept on saying, haiwezekani, haiwezekani, but it happened. There is always a first time. There is always a first time in something.
Okay, mzalendo, asante sana kwa msemo zako, kwa sababu ni maneno mazito, hatuziwezi chukulia tu hivi hivi, kwa sababu hata kwa umri hapa tukiwa we ni kama mtu ambaye amekula chumvi ya kwanza, pia ni kama mtu ambaye labda amekaa na wazee wa kijiji, unatuelekeza vizuri. Hatuwezi pitisha amri zako, yale ambayo umesema, na pia tutatilia manane sana sana kama ndugu yangu Makobura ambaye ako katika hicho kikoba cha kizazi kipya, ambao wanapigania sana, wanataka mambo mengi. Inafaa wakae chini na wapige darubini na wajipige msasa, wajua wao wanataka nini. Lakini wasipojua na wasipojua pia watakosea. Na nakubaliana na ndugu yangu mwingine hapa, anasema Silly TV, anasema shida ya Gen Z will be infiltrated, money will be poor. Hawajai, itakuwa tu shilingi 2,000 tu na pombe tu, alafu kwisha mambo tumepiga, alafu watakuja kulalamika. Saa Makobura, sikia maneno ya wakuu, hii ni kikao cha wazee.
Unajua hii story inaendelea. Huyu jamaa tena huyo kwa comment section, unajua huyu ni ule ajui kutofautisha kati ya youth huyu ni pengine youth na wale wananunuliwa na shilingi 1,000 na nani wale ni watu wale wana msimamo wale huwezi Gen Z hapa kuna watu wana msimamo wale wana kazi
wenye wananunuliwa na wana ID for your information. Wao hawana mbele ama
wale hawana pesa. Gen Z kama Ubura ana pesa zake anafanya kazi yake. Kuna mawakili pale, kuna watu wale huwezi wapatia ati unanipatia. Kuna watu wa IT, kuna software developers, kuna walimu kama marehemu Ojuang. Huyu alikuwa anakosoa serikali. Huyo ni mtu ako na kazi yake.
Na unajua, angalia wale mavijana ambao waliitwa pale na gavana wa Murang'a, wale walikuwa na teknolojia, walitengeneza mfumo ya hata kutengeneza duty roster, kuangalia ni nani anafanya kazi. Unajua ile ya wale mavijana, unadhani wale mavijana ambao unaweza patia pesa kidogo ile ushawishi kweli? Na kulingana na ile kitu ambao walitengeneza, mpaka gavana anakuja anawaleta pale mbele ya umati kuwapongeza.
Unajua brother Ben, kuna siku nilihost Gen Z kwa channel yangu ya Africa. So I wanted to understand who these people are, you know. So nikaona mimi kwa siasa zangu ama siasa zile unauzia wananchi ya kuwa utawaletea barabara, utawaletea maji, utawaletea barabara huduma mzuri za hospitali nini mashule. Jamaa aliniambia, wewe hebu nikuulize, unataka niishi wewe kwenyu ni Migori pale. Yeye anataka huko Migori ibaki kama Migori ushago, yani ikae kama huko pale. Anajua huko there must be a difference between the village and the city.
Yes.
So if you tell him that he needs a good road to go to the village, he tells you, no, I can fly there with a chopper. Why are you telling me I only need to be empowered? I can fly there with my chopper and I can go for a road trip. Nataka niingie na my 4x4 niende kwa hiyo terrain and then I reach home. That is what I want. I don't need a road in my village. I need. Then I was like, okay. All these guys need is what you saw the Murang'a governor doing. They need empowerment. They need to be empowered so that they have money. And when they have money, they can live anywhere they want.
They want, yes. And Mzalendo, pole kwa kusumbua, kwa sababu najua kila ucheo ukitaka kutoka mambo inakuja, na hata wewe Makobura, kwa sababu nyinyi ni watu ambao wako katika kizazi tofauti na una maeleo tofauti vinyi unaelewa. Unadhani kuna uoga ambao inaletwa na hichi kizazi kipya kwa wanasiasa wale ambao wamekuwa na mfumo ya siasa yao, wanaona kwamba hii kizazi kipya kuna ile wanavunja ile mfumo ya siasa ambao wanafanya, ndio maana labda kuna uoga inawapatia hao, na hao pia kwa kufanya kwamba tunataka kutoa hii uoga kwao, lazima sisi pia tuwatishe kidogo, tuwaingizie uoga. Unadhani kuna ile namna ya uoga ipo katikati hao watu wawili, mfumo hawa mavijana na wanasiasa ambao wapo, kwa sababu kuna ile mfumo yao ya siasa inavunjwa, na pia kuna ile uoga wanaleta, na pia hao wanataka kusema basi kama mnaleta hiyo uoga, sisi pia tutakuletea uoga. Na uoga ni gani? Ukiongea hivi tutakukamata. Unadhani kuna jambo kama hilo? Makobura, kama Mzalendo baada anafanya kazi, unadhani kuna uoga mali?
Unasemaje?
Nasema okay, Makobura enda, alafu ndamuuliza Mzalendo kabla hajatoka. Hii ndio mwisho, alafu natoka tukaka.
What I can say is that it is true, the old political class, there's some fear that has gotten into them because of the rise of Gen Zs. Because remember, it's the first time that Gen Zs are coming and that's like stopping and changing the political landscape. They are coming up with some strategies that, you know, the old political class were not really used to. You know, people were used to, Raila will tell them, let's go for demonstration, and they will all go for demonstration. But this time round, the youths, they can plan it via social media, and you see them on the street. Of course, it is a threat to the political class, and especially those who have always been in the political limelight. And that is why you even saw them trying to, you know, as much as they had different political views, they were trying to come together to try, you know, save themselves so that they are not edged, they are not removed from the political limelight. And that I can assure you, even going forward 2027, we are going to see quite a number of the non-political class being elected out. I mean, just because the youths are coming with different views, different needs, and they are actively getting involved this time round compared to what has been happening previously.
Okay, asante sana. Mzalendo, Mzalendo, labda unadhani kuna uoga?
Unajua lazima nikuelezee vizuri. Ile kitu iko Kenya ni kitu inaitwa class wars. Ukiona wakati bwana Raila Odinga kikampeni ile uchaguzi ilipita, alipromise vijana wale wajaajiriwa shilingi 6,000. Na usidhani alitokea tu na hiyo shilingi 6,000 mahali tu akafikiria ati hapana. Ni wadadisi wa siasa walimwambia since huyu jamaa William Ruto ameenda na maaslas, yani watu wale hawana kakitu, wewe enda na hii narrative ndio uweze kupata hii group ya wapiga kura. Now what has happened is that hao watu wote wameshakosa hii group. Ruto alienda akawapata, akaingia katika serikali na hii narrative ya Asla versus dynasty, of which Raila was the dynasty. So it was the poor against the privileged. Yeah. Now today, who are the privileged in our society? Kila mtu ukiangalia constituents wako, hata ukiangalia Ken Obura hapa amekuwa kwa siasa, maisha ile anatamani kuishi vizuri ni maisha ya mwanasiasa. Maisha ya mwanasiasa, ako na bodyguard, ako na hela ile anapewa which he cannot account for in name CDF. Ako na vitu zinaitwa sitting allowance, ako na housing loan ile anapewa, na ako na car loan zile anapewa every time akiingia katika bunge. So akiingia mara 3 ako na nyumba 3 ama 5, akiingia mara 4 ako na magari zile anataka, na hizo CDF bado atazimiliki, ataweza kumanipulate, ingawaje au danganya ya kuwa hii kitu iko independent ama nini, but they can always manipulate the CDF. Now hiyo ndio maisha ile iko hapo Kenya. That kuna watu wale wako juu sana na wako juu zaidi. And I gave you the example of a driver ule anapeleka mbunge. So hii vita unaona kwa barabara, hii vita si ya ukabila. Hii vita ni ya wale wako katika bunge na wale wako nje ya bunge. Hiyo ndio vita inakuja katika election ya 2027. It is us against them. Unanielewa?
Nakupata vizuri.
It is us against them. Wale wanatunga sheria zile wale wanatunga sheria na wale wako katika wanamiliki zile contract za serikali. Leo hii kwa katiba ya Kenya kuna ukienda kwa county government ya Kisumu where you come from, ni vijana wangapi bwana Nyong'o wanawapatia kandarasi? Ni wangapi? Hakuna. Enda county zote za Kenya uniambie ni vijana wangapi wanapewa kandarasi na hizi county. Hakuna hata moja. Hakuna hata moja. Either wanafanya na maproxy makampani zao zile wanajua, lakini vijana wanawekewa kitu inaitwa football tournament. Wanawekewa football tournament wacheze mpira. Wacheze mpira. So hii hasira imekuwa ikigather momentum. Kila uchao inagather momentum every time the rage is there. Now ila hasira ya mwisho ilitaonekana wakati wa finance bill. Hao vijana hawakujua nguvu zao, lakini walijaribu tu. Hawakukuwa na tamaa ya siasa. Hawajakuwa wakipiga kura. Hii group haijawahi kupiga kura. Lakini sasa wameona hapana. Kumbe tunaweza tesemesha hii serikali hivi, tuko wengi hivi. Tuko wengi. Tunaweza fanya rally bila kutoa pesa. Twende kwa X space, fungua space sahi. Wanafungua rally yao.
Wanafungua rally yao.
Wanachochana pale. Wanasema fanya hivi. Angalia. Obura atakwambia wanachochana hapo. Wewe ukienda hapo, mimi nakaa saa zingine naangalia. Anasema boss. Na ukiwa na Gen Z kwa nyumba kama mimi niko nao. Fikira zao na zao ni tofauti sana. Mambo ya siasa bila wanaangalia ni tofauti kabisa. So hii vizazi vipya saizi wa siasa kina Ken Obura wanaangalia siasa kwa umbali sana. Wanaangalia siasa kwa njia ya demokrasia, njia ya freedom na njia ya kupanua usemi na kuangalia ni vipi Kenya inaweza kuwa katika hiyo bracket ya uvumbuzi. Unaona? Kama hiyo kitu unashangaa sasa, uliona kitu ya Murang'a pale kijana amezundua mtandao itakuwa ni kama alternative ya ChatGPT, inaitwa Simba. Vijana wako na akili ile ijawahi kuwa tapped or harnessed by the government. Hawana njia, lakini sasa unapata gavana kama anaitwaje, Wamangata ama ni huyu gavana wa Murang'a
no, gavana Murang'a anaitwa Kang'ata, Irungu Kang'ata.
Anaofungulia hizo njia. Haya, ukikuja kwa gavana wako ile njia wewe gavana wako ni nani bwana Ben? Pole ndugu, lakini ni nani?
Sasa mimi niko na Prof mwenyewe Anyango. Nikienda Migori. Unajua mimi sasa ni mtu wa kaunti mbili. Awacha niseme Ochila yako.
Sema usikuwe naibu. Sema gavana wangu ni Ochilo ayako.
Moya mwenyewe wakili.
Huyo ndio gavana wangu. Ochilo yako amekuwa ni mwanasiasa, amekuwa katika serikali ya Moi, amekuwa katika serikali amekuwa kwa siasa kwa muda mrefu kama mjumbe. Naangalia bado waelewi wananchi wanataka nini.
Unajua cha kushangaza ni kwamba wakikutana na Mark Nyamita tu ni vita.
Jamaa, experience ile wako nayo, ile wanaweza sema wako na experience, ni experience ya kuiba. Hiyo ndio experience watu wako nayo. Hii group experience ile wako nayo ni sisi kama watu wa ODM kuungwa loyalty, fidelity, but no development.
Wanapigana sana. Unajua wafuasi wao wakikutana,
loyalty, fidelity, but we are okay with no development too. So that is coming to an end. There are good leaders out there who can make a difference, and the people needs to be, to be more keen in what is happening in the counties. So, and that is what we want. We want a country where Odhiambo Maya aliwaambia vizuri sana. There is no point of view of the Luo community fighting for the presidency of Kenya. Haina faida. You have the county government. Let them work for you. Today, you find that the county governments in Luo Nyanza are scrambling for development projects by the government. Then the people are not even questioning where they are taking the money that they are being given by the national government. Yeah, they are not even questioning. They are okay. They're okay with it. They're okay. We have come to a state where stealing is okay. Stealing
is normalized.
Yeah, it's normalized. Unaambiwa Ben kama example, huyu brother Ben, huyu ni jamaa washi mbaya sana, si hatutaki kujua hiyo. Huyu bana Ben, huyu ni smuggler bwana, hata anauza kidney za watu mbaya sana. Huyo ndio tunataka kuwe mbunge wetu. Kwa nini? Kwa zile filusi na pesa za ufisadi zile unapatia watu.
Sasa unajua mzalendo, hapo ndio sasa inafaa tujipige tathmini na sisi tuongelee sisi wenyewe kwa wenyewe, tuzungumze, kwa sababu kama wale ambao wanapiga kura hawapigi msasa mwanasiasa, labda hao wanaona kwamba mwanasiasa mbora ama mwanasiasa mzuri ni kulingana na fedha ambao anapatiana ama na mtu ambaye ako na nia mzuri kwa nchi ama nia nzuri kwa eneo ambao anataka kuongoza, huyu mtu unapata kwamba hapati nafasi. Labda hao watu wenyewe watakuwa wanamuuliza, wewe mtu ambao unagombea umetufanyia nini? Uko na pesa? Kwa sababu unapata kwamba cheo ama unapigiwa kura kulingana na pesa yako. Na wale ambao hawana pesa lakini wako na nia mzuri, ni nadra sana upate kwamba wameshinda kiti cha ubunge katika eneo ambao wanagombea. Na alafu kisha baadaye sisi tunakuja kusema kwamba viongozi ambao sisi tumewachagua ni wabovu, lakini sisi wenyewe hatuangalii wale ambao tunawapigia siasa. Sasa shida iko wapi? Ni viongozi ama wale ambao wanapiga siasa ama wale ambao wanapiga kura?
Viongozi hawana shida. And that is why tuko hapa, viongozi hawana shida. Shida ni wale wanafanya wanateua au viongozi. I keep on saying the power is in the ballot. That ballot that you carry, that is where your power is. Your electricity is there. Your road is there. Your electricity is not with Opio and I. Your electricity is in that ballot that you carry. Hiyo nimebeba stima. Karo yako na shule bora iko katika kile kadi unabeba ya kura. Ukitaka hospitali mzuri iko katika kadi ya kubeba kura. Ndio posa mimi kama mzalendo, unajua every time we have to have a solution to some of these problems, and that is why we spend time on the social media, is that we've come up with County 48. County 48 is the 48th county in the Republic of Kenya. And this weekend, inshallah, we will be holding the first session of MCAs wale watagombea kiti ile ndogo kabisa, ndio wakaaji wa Homa Bay katika constituency ile mimi natoka pale Ndiwa waweze kuchagua kati yao ni nani atakuwa MCA bora zaidi, by ensuring that huyu jamaa wamejua na akamearticulate sera zake vizuri na akaziuzia wananchi. Then tuwapige msasa na tuwaambie, wewe angalia zile kura umepata hapa kwa mtandao, angalia zile issues zile wananchi wanaongea juu yake, angalia umeshindwa kuaddress hii particular issue, and these are the issues that we want you to address when you go to the county assembly. Then we move to the MP, hivyo mpaka presidency. Then we also look at overall how is your county of Migori doing, Brother Ben? If I invite you to the show, you will point for me, hey, bwana Uchilo yako hizi hospitali hazifanyi kazi, hazina dawa, these are things that you need to do. These are the ABCD. So that gives the governor a solution to the problems that are happening, that somebody out there in the executive is not able to tell them, or the MCA anaogopa kumwambia kwa sababu wanapora pesa za wananchi. So mwananchi wa kawaida anasema enyewe huduma za hapa ni hii, I don't have roads, I don't have medication in this hospital. So that way we can come up with good leaders and come up with a better way of giving civic education before 2027, so that people have informed choice and decisions when they face that ballot. Si ati umeenda kwa ballot to apenji nyathina, apenji wuoda, achua lueta kanye, aket kanye. Hiyo ni kuluga kusema, yani nimeenda kwa ballot na sijui nani nitampigia. Sasa unaambia mtu niweke kidole wapi? So unaona, tunataka kufika hapo, but tunataka huyo nyanya ama nani, by the time tunafika hapo amejua pale, akifika kwa ballot anajua ni Ken Obura, amemsikia na amesikia sera zake, na huyo ndio tunapigia kura.
Okay, asante sana mzalendo, nashukuru sana kwa muda wako. Makobura, labda kama unaweza sema maneno zako za mwisho ndio kabla tufunge, kwa wale ambao wanatusikia ama wanatuangalia.
Kile naweza sema ya mwisho ni kwamba I would specifically want to talk to the youth. I think the youth, they have a role to play, and they have the numbers, so they can change this, the bad things, the problems. We can change it. We can do so by making proper and good, when we make right decisions, we can always, change the leadership. We can always put those that we want, those who can work. We have that power. So I think it is right that the youth should come out. Wache hii mambo ya kukaa na siku ya kwenda kupiga kura unasikia wameenda clubs, sijui wameenda wamechoka, wataki kutoka kwa nyumba. Yeah, they should stop that, because part of that behavior is what is causing us currently. We are currently suffering. We are having leaders who do not really care about, creation of job, just because we made the wrong choices. We still have time. We can still do it. And we need to stand up and ensure that from the MCA to the president, we give a chance to people who can really deliver for the entire country. That is my take.
Alright. Asante sana ndugu zangu kwa nafasi ama kwa muda ambao mlichukua mkawa na sisi hapa tukipiga story ama tukikuwa na mazungumzo, swala ambayo inahusu nchi ambayo sisi wote tunaipenda. Na mimi mara mingi huwa nasema kwamba tukizungumza tunaweza badilisha, tusipozungumza hatuwezi badilisha. Na ya pili pia ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kushukuru tu wale ambao tulikuwa nao. Asili TV, asante sana kwa kukuja. Asili TV 2, asante sana. Father, thank you so much. And Gibson Corner, Laban Misiani, Cape Real, thank you so much for coming. And those who did not comment also and are watching also, we will not go without telling you asante sana. If you're new here, once again, and you like what we are doing, and you can support us by just hitting that subscription button so you become one of family members. So if we go live, you will be enjoying our show. And once again, thank you so much to our new subscribers too. We cannot close without saying thank you to you, and just continue supporting us, and may God bless you. May God bless you very big. Tomorrow we will be here as we discuss about the issues that will be there tomorrow. Thank you so much, and may God bless you big time.